and it was just disastrous. We had no one on our side that had our best interests at heart. Hi everyone, Deborah Welke here with Charles Wixom Realty. So today I have kind of a treat for you. This is the horror story of us buying our first property, our first home. So let me just start by saying there is a reason to hire professionals that you yourself have personally vetted. So let me just tell you a little bit of a backstory. Tyson and I got married about 3 years ago, and we had a goal to buy a home within 1 year of our marriage. And the reason for this is we've wanted to invest in real estate since kind of before we got married, when we were dating. And we just thought it would be a great way to start working towards an alternate retirement. So instead of having, a 401k account, we would prefer to have rental properties or flip homes, things like that can bring us residual income, especially rental properties. So we kind of knew we wanted to join real estate and do real estate investing, and so we started working towards that goal. We started saving money for a down payment and started looking a little bit for properties. We didn't understand the home buying process very well. This was before I was an agent, obviously, and it was overwhelming, to say the least. We got started seriously looking at a property because my uncle, who was living out of the country at the time, decided to sell a duplex that he owned in Springdale. So that's an area that we liked. We knew the area. He had owned it for a really long time. It had a good rental history, and we just knew that it would be a good fit for us if we could make it work financially. So we started looking at that property, but because it was a family member and it was an off-market deal, we didn't find it on the MLS. My uncle didn't want to do things traditionally. He didn't want us to get an agent and him to get an agent and list it, and get offers, things like that. He wanted to just do it off-market and kind of pay a discounted realtor fee so that we could have someone else help us with the paperwork. So we didn't have anyone representing us on our side. The seller, my uncle, had a friend of his sister, my aunt, do the transaction, and at a discounted rate. She didn't feel very motivated to do a lot because she wasn't getting paid her normal rate. It was supposed to be an easy deal, and there were some things that made it easy, but a lot that made it really difficult. And so we started working towards the paperwork. The agent, recommended a lender to us. We didn't shop around for lenders or try and get to know him before we started the application process at all. And it was just disastrous. We had no one on our side that had our best interests at heart. Really, our lender tried, but didn't do a great job. So it was frustrating for us because we didn't understand the process and we didn't have anyone there to walk us through the process at all. So our lender kind of tried a little bit to do that, but it didn't really work because he wasn't really motivated. It was a smaller deal. He basically was like, "Oh, I'll come out and help you guys, paint if you need to," things like that. But it didn't feel very genuine to us, and so it was just really frustrating. We met him for the first time at his home. He was in his pajamas, watching a BYU football game, very casual about the whole thing, and it just felt so confusing and wrong to us. So fast forward a little bit, we were doing an FHA loan, and FHA loans are federally backed, so they require a little bit higher standards of the condition of the property. Specific things they look for are safety issues, so lead-based paint and peeling lead-based paint specifically. So if it's an older home, you may have to look for that. The other thing is like hand railings, the roof, if the roof is, causing trouble. Sometimes they'll call things out in the FHA appraisal. And those are required repairs that have to be done before you as the buyer can get the loan. So we started the process in July. We spent July, really August, September, and October working on the property. If you know Utah, it gets cold in, September and October. So I was outside working on a property we didn't own yet, scraping paint and repainting. I wish we had done something different, hired a professional, something. We just didn't have the money to hire professionals. My uncle didn't want to pay for it. It was just a ton of work. I'm not kidding, scraped the entire exterior of the home, repainted pretty much the whole thing. I wish we had just repainted in a color that I like because it's an ugly yellow. And we ended up redoing the garage roof. We did pay someone to do that. But it took 3 months for us to work on this property. We get very close to the end to closing, and our lender had let our interest rate lock expire. So once you get closer to the end, the lender will lock your interest rate, meaning whatever today's rate is for you, they will lock that until you close. And the reason they do that is to protect you as the buyer, so that if rates go up, you have a good interest rate. If rates go down, you're still stuck with that interest rate, but usually they do it so that just in case rates go up. He let our lock expire days before we were supposed to close. So it was very stressful. Again, I didn't really understand what that meant. We didn't have an agent on our side to really kick back against the lender. The seller's agent tried a little bit, but again, she wasn't representing us. She was doing what the seller had in mind rather than what we had in mind. So I spent about an hour on the phone crying, sitting in the driveway of this home, trying to finish painting. So I'm sitting in paint clothes, days before we're supposed to close, trying to finish painting so that the appraiser can come back and check everything off. And our lock is expired. I'm just bawling in the car like, I'm done. I'm ready to walk away, start this whole process over with a new lender, because he just felt so ingenuine. He really did not have our interests at heart. He was going through some major changes. He switched companies twice during that time. So there were things that happened that were kind of crazy. But here's the thing. We didn't have anyone taking care of us. We didn't personally vet the agent because she wasn't on our side. We didn't know how important it was to have a buyer's agent. And the seller pays for the buyer's agent. So you as the buyer don't even have to pay to have someone represent you. This is so important, and why I am so passionate about buyers having a good agent that will stand up for them in any instance. So I am very passionate about that. It is one of the basis of my business. So, number one. Number two, the lender he was going through his own crap, and really, I don't think he cared what happened to us. At the end, I think he just wanted the deal to close so that he would get paid, and unfortunately, that just happens sometimes. We didn't vet him. We didn't really even vet the inspector that we had. There were just so many things about the process that I wish we had had someone to walk us through and help us understand. So that is our horrible home buying experience. Just to kind of explain a little bit further in detail why they all screwed up. So we bought it as a duplex, and typically in Utah County, duplexes sell, depending on the market, about 20% higher than a single family home of the same size. And the reason is it's an income property. You have potential to bring in rents. So you can sell it for more. Your taxes are done a little bit differently. All these things. We didn't have someone that told us it was our fault that when we bought it, it actually is a single family home and not a duplex. So we went to refinance our home. If we went to sell it, we wouldn't be able to sell it for as much as if it were a legal duplex. It's a problem. It is a huge issue, and I wish that someone had sat us down and explained the risk factors of buying a home and not doing our true due diligence. We just didn't know what that meant to buying a home. So Now I know, and I tell all of my clients, I work with you on every single issue to make sure that you as the client are protected, that you are safe, that you're not falling into something that is going to bite you in the butt later on like it did us. So I really hope that this helps and doesn't scare you away from buying a home, but rather pushes you towards finding professionals that are willing to help you and that have learned the lesson. Every home that I help buy or sell is a lesson to me. I learn something with every single transaction, and I think that's important. I think that you should learn something new because every transaction is different. Every deal is different. Every home is different. Every family is different. So that's my little soapbox for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Enjoy this fall weather, and like and subscribe.